Like we are live. Well, hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Spiritual Alignment Podcast. This is your host, Mitesh and Shakti, presenting you the topic for today, which is how to be positive in life.
Yeah, and this is a topic that comes up often for a lot of folks. Just thinking about, all the situations going on in the world, in their personal lives, in just every single moment. A lot gets hit for people, and it brings up quite a bit of feelings, emotions, tension, and people are always asking, how do you be more positive? How can I be more positive? Because there's so much going in my life, and they can do a laundry list of things that are going on in their life. But throughout that all, how can you be more positive? And this is a question that I get too, and I don't even know what I'm doing sometimes. But people ask, how are you so positive? Or I know, Shakti, you get that as well. Like, how are you more positive, Shakti? Like, how are you so positive in life? I'm like, I'm just being me. I don't know how you respond to that.
Well, I have a response, but yes, I get that question all the time, and it almost has become the expectation that no matter how bad the situations are, Shakti, you gotta be positive because you meditate. You gotta be positive because you're such a, you know, teacher. And I'm like, no, life doesn't work this way. I'm a human being.
Hmm.
So I know I was positive always, but then I also lost that positivity along the way. And I had to work really hard on myself to be able to restore a positive outlook. So I have some things to share that are going to actually surprise you. So that is what I want to put out. If you are watching this live or you are catching our podcast, there's more coming that will surprise you along the lines of how do you stay positive.
So just to keep our listeners a little bit more in suspense, I just want to make a quick comment on what you said about your how people respond to you. And it's funny how people respond to you of, you're happy because you do this, or you're happy because you do a certain thing. Whether you meditate, whether you practice yoga, whatever you're doing in your practice, they observe and watching or are watching you. But if that is really the case, then why aren't they doing it themselves? Why aren't more people meditating? Why aren't more, if you believe it's going to make other people happy, and even though, like you said, there's other things behind your happiness and your positivity, why aren't people doing more meditation and knowing what's good for them, or not even what's good for them, but knowing what could potentially bring them a sense of peace or even more positivity?
Well, that's a great question. I feel like people like us practice our tools, yoga, meditation, nature walks, working out, whatever those tools are, breathing practices, whatever those tools are, we are doing it because we know we are not positive. It's because we have the awareness of that we don't feel like ourselves. And this is really why we make the commitment to show up, to practice these tools every day of our life. And I will tell you, on a good day, maybe I'll meditate for 30 minutes, and that sets me up for my day. But on not so good day, right? I may have to practice 3 times for 30 minutes each time. And I always tell clients this: on a good day, you practice your tools and you heal. On a bad day, you practice your tools and heal. And on a good day, you do exactly the same: practice your tools and heal. So the more we do that and make this our habit, the more stronger our foundation is going to be able to hold space for all the stuff out there that is not positive.
Hmm.
And it is like you are the building, and you kind of need that strong foundation to really go at your day. And this is like every day's work. It's not like you build this foundation 2 years ago and it's going to keep lasting. That's not how life works. It's day by day, moment by moment, reassessing how strong is your foundation. And if that foundation feels shaky for any reason, because things are happening in the world, because things are happening in your life, because things are happening in your family, then it is really the call to come back and make that foundation stronger. And I know, Mitesh, you didn't ask me this question. You asked me the question why other people aren't doing, aren't meditating. And it is because there are layers of energies and thoughts and emotions that disconnect from the awareness of how strong their foundation is. And this connection comes in the form of you're too busy. You have to fulfill 1,500 demands placed on you. You have to armor up, go fight a war at your organization. You are a parent. You're responsible for everyone. You are a child to someone and you're responsible for them. So a lot of these responsibilities and trying to fulfill demand, trying to do things for others, and sometimes it is this idea of perfectionism, to be honest. It is, I have to be perfect. I can't really be aware of, like, there's no internal permission even offered to your body, to your own awareness, to have the sense of, where am I in this moment? And I was just talking to someone yesterday, and they mentioned to me that we were talking about feelings. This is a man, right? We were talking about feelings, and they shared with me, Shakti, I don't even feel anything. And I was talking about feeling hungry and excited and feeling called to do something. And they were like, no, I don't feel hungry. I have set my body according to clock, and my mind tells me when I should be eating meals. And it's like 10 a.m., I'll do my breakfast. 1 p.m., I'll do my lunch. 6 p.m., I'll do my dinner. And that's it. I do this every single day, rinse, repeat. It works flawlessly for me. And I asked them, well, if there's no opportunity for your body to co-create your experiences, for your body to speak to you in the form of hunger, right? Then how do you feel, how do you like have most fulfilling meals of your life? They're like, I eat what my wife cooks for me. I'm so not fussy. I am so flexible, and I eat what my wife cooks for me. And this is really the type of living we all go through. We all have been so encouraged in this world to live from our minds, from a very mental space that really disconnects us from our bellies, from our sacrum, from our hips, to be able to feel what our body feels, to be able to take steps, ask that question, okay, my body's feeling hungry. What do I do about it? Do I cook meals? Do I take out? What would I like to eat? What is so fulfilling for me to eat right now that my body can actually enjoy? And you see, when there's no opportunity to ask that question and engage in that curiosity and the question answer, I can't, it's hard to have a fulfilling, appetizing, delicious meal that really satiate our taste buds, that really satiate our hunger. And that feels like, yum, wow, that was the meal of my life. And I guess what I'm trying to say is that we all deserve to have the meal of our life in every meal we eat, Why compromise?
So I hear a lot about what you're saying in terms of presence and giving yourself permission to put yourself as a priority. You know, you mentioned earlier about there's so many things to do, there's limited amount of time, but generally our attention is given to something or someone where we sacrifice ourselves. And so that's one thing, is that, you know, we're trying to fight against time and, you know, try to get as much done. And then the second part is when we find, or not even giving ourselves the opportunity to find that presence, where asking yourself in this moment, what is the most fulfilling? Yes, I mean, it can go clockwork and saying, okay, every Wednesday I have this particular meal at this particular time and I enjoy it. But really, are you enjoying it? Or is it just a, you know, a check mark in a way of like, all right, I fulfilled this schedule that I have made for myself. Maybe it's outdated. Maybe you have the same schedule for the last 30 days, 30 years. Is it in present time? And I remember when I used to work in New York City in downtown, there was one day, there was like a pizza truck that would be in the downtown area. And I made it my, like every Wednesday or something like that, or I forgot, Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday for lunch, I would go to that pizza cart because they weren't there on like Monday. There were certain days that they weren't there. And so on Wednesdays, I would go there. And it didn't matter if it was, you know, something else that was more delicious, or a new restaurant that opened up, or whatever it was, but that was the place that I would go. And it was just by habit. And whether or not it was fulfilling, it was just a check mark at the end of the day, that now that I look back on it.
Do you like pizza?
I do.
Hmm.
I do. But I mean, if there's if there is that level of exploration of, okay, what else is there that we have today? Or what am I feeling today?
Mm-hmm.
You know, versus like, oh, it's Wednesday, I must be feeling this. You see what I'm saying? It's the opposite of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I hear you, Mitesh. And I think that's such a great example because you were probably in the moment solving for time and making things quick and inexpensive. There's so many models that the mind try to problem solve the most optimal solution. I don't know if you remember these operations classes in like, I don't know, grad school. I had these like the shortest time taken to complete this task, kind of project management in that project management world. But yeah, I hear you. And I didn't really, when we started this conversation, Mitesh, I didn't really was thinking that our conversation will go here. But now that we are here, I'm really being guided to take a stand and take a stand for our community, for ourselves, for everybody who's watching and will be watching this conversation for times to come. I want to take a stand today. No matter what your definition of negative and positive is, anything that you are doing from the perspective, from the intention of checking the box, anything you are doing from not being able to feel fully what you need in this moment is not a positive event, is not a positive outcome. Because it is an empty exercise, it's an empty event, it's an empty action. And because it doesn't honor your body, it doesn't honor where you are in this moment and what you need in this moment. And that emptiness from just living life from a mental level is going to put things out that are empty in the world and going to receive things that are empty for yourself. And no wonder as a society, we have disconnected from our internal fulfillment.
So it's almost like it's not even about positive or negative. It's simply about being conscious and in the moment. And when you are there, then you don't have to solve for positive or negative because you are there and really tuning in to what is live now, what is alive, what is fulfilling now. And it almost reminds me of like how we, as a kid, when you are growing up, you're not planning your day out just like we do now. We're not planning, okay, I woke up at 9 a.m. now, and I'm gonna, at 10 o'clock, I'm gonna do this, and here I'm gonna take my shower, and I'm gonna do this and this and this and this and this. We don't plan our day out like that at all. And not to say that it's a crime to plan out your day, but this is just how kids do it. They, when they get hungry, they ask for food. When they are wanting to play, they go outside. When they are bored, they'll figure out something else. And when they want to talk to somebody, they'll talk to somebody. It's really that in the moment type experience.
Exactly. And I just spoke about it yesterday in my live, actually. As kids, we are masters of listening to our bodies and our heart. We are masters in like flowing in that internal guidance. And, if you notice a kid, like my kids wake up, and let's say it's a weekend and they don't have to worry about classes or anything, they wake up and they start playing. And then once they're done playing, they go to their next play, and they are constantly listening to what is exciting in the moment. They start their day with what is exciting to play, most exciting to play. And they do that, and they go to what's the next most exciting thing to play. And they do that, and they go to the next play and the next play and the next play. And this is how they spend their entire day, from one play to the next play, simply flowing in their excitement. And that is it.
Yeah, I look at our daughter, and she it concerned me at some point, but I was able to kind of work around it. But it'd be like noon, almost 1 o'clock, and she'd be so busy in her play. And I'd ask her, "Did you have breakfast yet? Or did you have anything yet?" And she's no, Daddy, I've been playing. And I'm like, "What? You haven't had eaten anything?" And my daddy brain gets a little concerned, and like alerts start firing in my head, like, "Oh no, she's gonna starve." But for her, it's not the worst thing in the world. She's listening to her body. She's listening. Like if she's hungry, she's going to ask. If she's hungry, she's going to find food. She's going to listen to her body. And that's one of the beautiful lessons that she always offers us, is like, hey, you don't have to make this clockwork. You can just be and allow yourself to take everything moment by moment.
Absolutely. And keeping things intentional, keeping this internal communication flowing with yourself, where you listen, where you intently listen to how you feel, looking for tapping into that excitement, the natural excitement that we all have as humans.
So what would you say now, after we've had this dialogue? And the beauty of this dialogue and this podcast episode here is really that, but with intention, with purpose, we didn't write everything out. We didn't plan everything out of what we wanted to say. We have a general idea. And we started out with, how do you be positive in life? And we recognized through this exchange, this beautiful exchange that we're having, is it's not even about positivity. It's being in the moment, where all of the other things just go away and they wash away. But I guess for folks who are still not satisfied, I'm sure there are some of you listeners right now, you're like, oh, well, that doesn't answer my question. I can be present and this and that, but how do I be more positive? and any other suggestions you have? I know you were coming to a secret, or some sort of secret formula that you were going to offer, Shakti, earlier. And I know I made you wait, audiences, so you can blame me on this one. But Shakti, what is it that you have to offer that you wanted to share?
I think the number one thing is to really deepen the presence that we have talked about so far. Being intentional with things that you do, that emptiness the empty action is exactly what creates the negativity and disconnect you from fulfillment. And to take this even one step further, I think it's all so related. When you are present in the moment with yourself, not being present with other people, just with yourself, the question of negative and positive doesn't even come up. Because what is negative and what is positive is simply a definition that your mind has given to things that are happening in your life. Right? The mind says that this thought is positive and this is negative. And when you're present, you get to actually dissolve these very hardwired definition, and you get to simply be present with the thought. And simply that presence is really allows you to liberate all that perceived negative into positive.
Mm. And I agree with that. I feel like there is so much weight given to positive because by definition, if you want to be more positive or if you want to be positive, then you're looking at your life as if it's negative. And that's where most people are starting, is that, if they want to show up more positively, then there's somewhere in their psyche, in their operation, in their processing, that they're thinking about, where I am now is crap. Where I am now is not good. Where I am now is negative. And really, the first place to start is not trying to get to the positive, because anytime you try to get to somewhere, it's going to leave you unsatisfied.
Right.
First, own where you are now and
Right.
embrace that, hey, I am here. And there's a reason why I'm here. And from there, seeing what are the blessings, seeing what are the things that are truly meaningful in that moment, even if it's really difficult or harsh. But what is it that's there? And then that's the first step in my mind, is let go of the positive and negative and come, and I know you use this term quite a bit, is a place of neutrality. Of, can you be in a place where you're not judging where you are now as right or wrong, good or bad, ugly, beautiful, whatever that dynamic is? Can you be here now?
Exactly. And I think, if I am allowed to take one more stand, is the secret to being positive is to allow yourself to be negative. Yes, we all want to be neutral, but if you are not there, feeling the neutrality, allow yourself to be negative. Allow yourself to have fearful thoughts. Allow yourself to have all kinds of different thoughts.
That's powerful.
And asking yourself, how in this moment can I accept my fear? How in this moment can I be present with my fear? Can I be present with my choices? How in this moment can I drop these labels of right and wrong and positive and negative, and just allow myself to be in acceptance for all that I am?
Mm-hmm.
And you'll see pretty quickly, and if you just like simply hold that acceptance and breathe with it, you'll see how quickly that disappears and leaving you empty.
There's like this image that popped into my mind as you were speaking. It's like, trying to run away from something, whatever it's the fear or this emotion, and you run away, and you kind of look behind you and you still see it chasing you. But the moment you stop and you face it, there's no more chase.
Exactly.
It's just you seeing it, it sees you, and you decide what to do with it at that point. And yeah, that's really the the nugget, the golden wisdom, or the gem that you offered there is lean into it, see the fear, acknowledge it, and see why it's even there in the first. Why is it bugging you? Why are you running from it? And take it from there. Well, great. It's something that, we never know where this conversation would go, but this is exactly the conversation that needed to be had. And that's the beauty of the Spiritual Alignment podcast, is that we like to play off of each other. Shakti and I, whether it's having a conversation, having a dialogue, whatever it might be, but just being present here and now, not knowing what's going to come forward, and really allowing ourselves to channel this, what needs to become. And that's when I'm sure you notice, even as a listener, you've probably had conversations with people in your life where somebody says something and then you have an idea, you have an aha moment. And that's exactly a win. What I would say for us here is really in this podcast to bring forth the things that need to be brought forth. And we encourage you to check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We'll have some links for you to share that you can subscribe. And we're going to be offering many more podcasts in the future. And we encourage you to be the first to receive it by subscribing to it. And you'll hear more conversations with us, with other guests in the near future. And so we thank you and honor you for your listening and your presence. And any final words from you, Shakti, before we close?
I just want to say thank you for taking the moment in your busy day to hear what we had to say. And I also want to say congratulations for engaging in these conversations, and bit by bit, one conversation at a time, you will start noticing changes in your life, because every conversation that we put together is aimed at only one thing, and that is to help expand your awareness, so that you get to grow, so you get to develop, so you get to really expand in your power, in your acceptance, in your worthiness, in your expression of you. And that is a promise we hold as a Spiritual Alignment team. And we are just so delighted to co-create with you one episode at a time. Thank you, Mitesh.
All right. Thank you, Shakti. Until next time, saying farewell from the Spiritual Alignment.